Hey everyone, so on this channel I'm always going on about how you should find somebody local, someone good, pay a little bit extra because you'll get much better results. Well, here's a smile design that I did using mainly veneers and a couple of implants, and within 2 weeks veneers started to fall off. Let's explore how this happened and what we can do to minimize stuff like this happening in the future. So my name's Gus, I'm a cosmetic and implant dentist based near London in the UK, and this patient actually found me from one of these videos, okay, and he decided to come in and look at his options. We went through a really comprehensive treatment plan. The plan was very similar to all of our plans, which we do for everybody. Stage 1 is to look at the health of the mouth and get everything to really good health. So that means get rid of our gum disease, any teeth which have infections, maybe consider root canals or whatever we need to do to get rid of all of the disease in the mouth. Then we can look at our rebuild project, and here we had to place a few implants to replace some missing teeth, and we wanted to improve the look of the overall smile. And to do that, the best solution here was to use porcelain veneers. So the veneers part of this whole treatment is right at the end. It's the very last thing that we do. Okay, everything else, all the preparation work, is arguably the most important. And it's like if you're building a house, you've got your foundations, you've got your walls, and the veneers is really just the painting and decorating. But it's important because the veneers are the only bit that our patients actually see. And we do pride ourselves on doing things really well, being very meticulous at every stage of our treatment. And I was really surprised to hear that this patient called up a few weeks later after having the veneers fitted, and a veneer had popped off. Okay, this is almost unheard of. Now, veneers do come off, okay, this is a known thing, but usually it's after several years of service, okay, if not decades. So we have to sort this problem out, and the way we did that, we said, okay, look, we're really sorry, come back in, let's either refit it or remake it, whatever. Okay, we didn't remake it because the veneer was still intact. It was still just one piece and it just needed to be glued back in. So we did that, we glued it back in. But after another 2 to 3 weeks, he called up with exactly the same problem, either the same veneer or the one next to it. Okay, or the one opposite, the same tooth opposite. This got me thinking, something is not right here. And to elaborate on his particular situation, most of the teeth were actually crowns. Okay, so a crown was a more appropriate way of rebuilding that tooth, and there was only 2 teeth which actually had veneers. So veneer is just the front surface of the tooth is replaced. And the downside of a veneer is because it doesn't wrap around the tooth, you're reliant on a chemical bond, i.e. a glue, holding that veneer onto the tooth. And we got down to the actual base of the problem, which was my lab had actually made the whole smile out of a different material. Okay, so they had used zirconia rather than Emax, which is what we normally use for smile designs. And we had not asked for zirconia or anything like that, but the lab had done this. Now, the way we solved this for our patient was we just redid the whole smile, okay, in the correct material. There's no point in messing around just doing 1 or 2 veneers because the color match will not be right. I would rather just be 100% certain that everything is working. And we had a long discussion with the lab, and the reason they chose to make it out of this other material was because we had implants in the treatment plan, and they can't match an implant tooth with the Emax veneers. I don't think this was a good reason, because there are ways of doing this, but what this highlights is that labs have their limitations as well. Again, the limitation is really a limitation in thinking. Now, I've actually dropped using this dental lab now because of this and 1 or 2 other issues. In fact, there was about 3 patients who had very similar problems, and it was because the lab had changed the material, thinking that it has really no effect on our customer or our patient. But in reality, it has a massive effect because a lot of our patients travel over an hour to come and see us. They put a lot of trust in us, and it's up to us to make sure that their treatment goes almost flawlessly. Now, we can't guarantee it because complications happen all the time. Well, not all the time, but they happen enough. And some of them just come out of the blue, and we try and fix them as best we can. But the people behind the scenes, it's not just the dentist or the nurses and the team who you see. There's a lot of people behind the scenes who help a smile actually come together, and every one of those people has to do exactly the right thing in order to deliver the best overall end result. Now, my communication with this lab kind of broke down because of this main incident, and I can only speculate why they truly did it, okay? And I think it really comes down to a cost thing. I think it was easier and more cost effective for the lab to use a different material. Now, in the long term, it wasn't, because they had to replace everything and I refused to pay for it again. So I think the point of this video is that complications happen, okay? And it might not be the fault of your dentist who you have an excellent relationship with. It may be people behind the scenes. And this is one of the reasons that I always recommend you see somebody local, okay? Because when these problems happen, it's a lot easier to travel, maybe an hour or maybe 2 hours, up the road. But anything more than that, unless you've got a lot of flexibility in your schedule, becomes a real pain. And sometimes it can take multiple appointments to kind of get to the root cause of the problem and fix it. If you were having your treatment done abroad and you had these issues, that's a whole new kettle of fish. I think that's another reason that you see dentists who've ground down everything to tiny little stubs, because you can get away with a lot more if you do that, okay? You can get away from a clinician point of view, but as I've spoken about in previous videos, this has a long-term health implication. The cost of removing too much teeth almost condemns those teeth to treatments such as root canal treatment and early extraction and replacement with implants. What we want to do is improve the look of the smile with minimal drilling, and to do that we have to think about the materials we're using. We have to have a good solid process so that we can deliver really great smiles which last, which again our patients don't need to really think about, and it just looks like they were born with really great teeth. So, as always, guys, I hope you found this video useful. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight if you're thinking about having, complicated dental work done. I will see you in the next video. Take care.